Hello, everybody. Today, I am the Geek, and this is me speaking. Today, I have come to you to tell you about this new film which I have just witnessed, and what will be the beginning of a long-running film review franchise of mine. Today, we are here to talk about Despicable Me, a film starring Steve Carell as what I think is a Russian, who is a villain and who is feared by men. Oh, that was a bad idea. Sorry about that. Alright, well, as you may have guessed, we're here to talk about Despicable Me, the brand new family film starring Steve Carell as a dude named Gru, who is this, supposedly really cool supervillain. But he kinda sucks. So, he adopts a couple of orphans, they go to this dude named Vector's house, they try and steal his shrink ray, they steal his shrink ray, he shrinks the moon, he misses Swan Lake, and then blah 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 blah, everybody wins, yippee. That's the story, nobody cares, moving on. Okay, for a movie like this, there's only really two things that anyone cares about. Likeable characters telling funny jokes. First off, the likeable characters. Orphans? Awesome. Gru? Pretty good most of the time. Dr. Nefario? No. Vector's dad, the dude the head of the Bank of Evil? Pretty good. Gru's mom? No. Vector? I'm so megalithic gay, I'm so megalithic gay, I'm so megalithic gay! Look at me! Ugh. I really hated Vector, and I mean, hated Vector. He's just a horrible, horrible villain. Steve Carell as Gru is pretty good, although his accent does occasionally slip, which it shouldn't. I mean, you can cut and paste that stuff. I can do that. But so, yeah. A little more effort from the editing team to make it so that, Steve Carell's accent was there the whole time would have been good. And the writers probably should have ungayed at least a little of Vector. I can understand making him be like the rich prissy boy of villainy, but he does not need to be this over the top. Honestly, it is surreal watching this guy. I mean, it is horrible. And he's one of the worst villains ever. I mean, I've invented a piranha gun, Daddy. Look, it shoots piranhas. 2 feet. Look at me! Or a squid gun. When would you need a squid gun? Honestly, when? Other than to mildly annoy people, when would you need a squid gun? Honestly, tell me. You can't, because you don't. Freeze rays, death rays, anything. Technodromes, giant flying castles with skulls on the front. These are villain things. Not a squid gun. Not a jumpsuit. You're not the Venture Brothers' new brother. You're a freaking supervillain. Be one. Okay, getting out of that and into the humor. The humor is split up into two things. One, jokes. Verbal. Environmental, stuff like that. B, slapstick. Slapstick sucks. Not in general. I like slapstick, Tom and Jerry, stuff like that. That's funny. This, bad slapstick. The Minions are the central part of the slapstick humor, and they suck. They're not funny. They're not lovable. They are not good characters. And their jokes are horrendous. I mean, God, they have that weird little Pokemon syndrome where they don't actually talk, but they make garbly noises, which is just stupid. They make it look like Gru can understand them, and it makes it sound like they're making something that resembles words and sentences, but they're not. They're not. Ugh. Worst part in the entire movie in terms of humor is the supermarket sequence, where the three of the little minions, dressed as a mommy, a daddy, and a baby from the 1950s, go into the supermarket. There's a bit with a soda bottle, there's a bit with a massage chair, and there's a bit with a karaoke machine because, by God, we needed to see the minions try to sing. Needless to say, my ears bled, the funny bone in me just broke, and I was waiting patiently for this animated torture to end. The jokes are good. The actual jokes, they're good. The orphans, fantastic. The orphans are funny for about 95% of their screen time. I can only remember a couple of moments in which I didn't laugh at them. Gru, also pretty good. Steve Carell's accent is kind of funny and occasionally a little bit too wacky, but honestly, it's pretty good. So the jokes are good, slapstick is bad. This is really the definition of a mediocre film. Like, the best I can say for my final verdict, I would say I was entertained. Nothing more. I don't regret the purchase of the ticket, and I'm not going to save it on some kind of wall and frame it. It was just a popcorn kind of thing. Like, you go in, you eat some, you're like, okay, and you leave. It's like a glow stick. That's what it is. It's like a glow stick. You snap it, it starts to light up. You're like, hey, lights! Cool! Entertaining! Entertaining! As soon as the light's gone, what do? You throw it away. That's this movie. It's entertaining for a couple of minutes. It doesn't outstay its welcome, but that's about it. Once it's over, you will not say, I need to see that again. You will say, I was entertained, let's go see something else. So, that's the bottom line. If I had to summarize the best thing in this movie in 1 to 3 words, I would say The Orphans. The Orphans are hilarious. They are awesome. Easily distinguishable by personality and by look, although the youngest one is that kid from Monsters, Inc., and Gru's mom is Grandma from Hoodwinked. A little bit of the change in the nose thing, but then again, we had to explain where that came from somewhere. So, that's pretty good. If I had to describe the worst thing in this movie in 1 to 3 words, Vector. Vector was horrible. He's one of the worst villains ever. And you know, I could accept him as a parody of a supervillain, except one thing. His dad is significantly better. His dad is like a fatter version of Dr. Robotnik from Sonic SatAM. Except replace the weird, like, oh, that's very good voice with a darker, like, why have you not given me your money kind of thing. But that still works. Why couldn't he be the villain? I mean, that would have been so much better, and it would have made Gru such a more likable hero. So bottom line, entertaining, good orphans, bad Vector, pretty good. I would suggest it to parents, for their children, obviously, and for people who are just looking to kill an hour and a half or so. So that's me. I'm the Geek, that was me speaking.